Hey everybody, Ben here with We Go Fishing. Karen's here with me, and welcome to another fishing news of the week. I think we're up to episode
1,200.
yeah, not that many yet. Man, that'd be a lot. I was thinking about sustainability, and I was like, man, you know, when we get to certain episodes, we should do like.
Or we started out with the one that.
Yeah. But anyway, we're going to start off fishing news of the week a little bit differently this time. And what we're going to do is, and I'm probably going to do this each time because I really like it. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And we're just going to call it Unsolicited Advice. Alright, so what I do for unsolicited advice, and what I'm going to do going forward is I'm going to go on Reddit, because Reddit is just a bastion of human wisdom, a repository of nothing but...
Wisdom. That's a good word.
Yeah, it's a repository of something. But anyway, go on Reddit and into the /fishing, so Reddit /fishing, and people ask questions on Reddit. And of course, all the brainiacs go onto Reddit and they solve the problems. So I thought that we would help out.
All right.
And we would solve problems even though nobody's asking us.
All right.
And our solutions might be terrible as well. Who knows?
But still, might help somebody.
Might help somebody. So here's the first one.
Or give you a laugh.
Oh, yeah, give you a laugh. Then it's really entertainment value. Okay, so here's the first one. This guy says he has a question. He's going fishing in about a month, and he needs something to keep the fish alive while he's out. I need something for saltwater fish, not giant ones. So he doesn't have big expectations here. That's probably a good thing if he hasn't been fishing in saltwater before. But he does know some species because he wants things like croaker and flounder. Just going to fish off a dock. Okay. I'm not sure what I could use or where I could find something. Maybe some sort of basket-like thing I can throw into the water after pushing the fish in it.
Well,
there's so many questions.
I could attach a rope to a laundry basket. You could put the fish in it, and then they could swim out.
Yeah, I was like, that's not going to work. And then I was like, why not just get an ice chest? Because you're on a dock, right?
Yeah.
So why not just get an ice chest? Because you can get them with wheels.
Well,
I mean,
so why is he keeping them alive?
I don't know, because that was the other part of this. Is like he says that he wants to keep the fish.
Okay.
He needs something to keep the fish alive, and I'm assuming the ones he's planning on catching.
But is he wanting to keep the bait alive? The fish?
He says, I'm going to go fishing in about a month. I need something to keep the fish alive.
About, a bait bucket that you lock and
then
you
I'm
keep in the water.
Is he planning on transporting the fish while they're alive somewhere else? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what is. So my thing was the easiest way to solve this is a stringer.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on the height of the dock,
if you're trying to keep fish alive in the water, and they're larger fish, they're not like tiny little minnow creatures.
No, he's talking
then
croakers,
you need a stringer.
Croakers, you can
Has
eat
he
croakers.
never seen a stringer?
Yeah, I would recommend a stringer. I mean, it depends on the height of the dock. I mean, if the dock is real far off the water, you can't do that. But
what is he gonna do? Lower the basket from the pier?
I don't know.
I mean,
but I would also suggest an ice chest. Because one of the things that if you haven't kept fish before, you want to ice them pretty good first before you fillet them and that sort of thing. Yeah. It really helps the freshness.
He says dock though, so surely it's within his reach.
Maybe some sort of basket-like thing I can throw into the water after putting the fish in. They do sell fish pots. I have seen them at different sporting goods stores, and you can put fish in the fish pot and lower it into the water.
I think it's interesting. He says, I'm not sure where I could find something. Has he looked at Bass Pro Shops?
Yeah.
I mean, just walk in there.
But if I was, there's I'm thinking stringer would be the first solution. But the second one, if that doesn't work, then I would say, and you really are bent on keeping the fish alive, the only other thing I can think of is maybe a small cooler with a bubbler, but that's not going to keep them alive very long. I don't know. Anyway, hope that helps. Now let's get to the fishing news of the week.
Oh, but we didn't read all the funny answers.
No, I'm not going to read that. All right. So for our fishing news of the week, we are going to talk about zebra mussels. Now, before you turn it off and say it's really boring, it is really, really important. Because, and the news article here is from fishgame.com. They should have changed this headline. It should be 3 more Texas lakes are now infested with mussels. And you say, why is this a bad thing? Glad you asked, because we're actually going to talk about that. Not only are we going to point out there's a problem here with the mussels, but we're going to say why it's a problem. Because a lot of the things that we're seeing out there is just saying it's a problem. but nobody's really saying why it's such a problem for our lakes. And so we're going to talk about that. But I'm not going to read this whole thing. I always link all the articles below into the description. So if you want to read the whole article for yourself, please do. But this has designated Lake Brownwood, Inks Lake, and Medina Lake in the Colorado and the San Antonio River basins as infested now with zebra mussels. And what they define it, infested means that there is a reproducing population of zebra mussels in the lake. So they're there, they're established, they're not going away. That's one of the problems with zebra mussels is once they're there, you're not getting rid of them.
You just can't. You can't clean them up.
There's currently no known way to get rid of them. So they are there, they're reproducing, and they're there. So zebra mussels are continuing to spread westward and southward towards new areas of Texas. And there's only one way this happens.
Well, it happens when humans transport them.
Humans are transporting.
So you're somehow not washing your boat off before putting it in another body of water.
Which we have a video on how to clean your boat. I know people don't like to do it, but you have to drain your boat, pull your plugs. If you're in a body of water, we were just in a body of water that has zebra mussels. And what do? I pull my plugs and I wash the boat and I rinse it all out. I rinse all my live wells, anything where the water went. I rub down the bottoms because it's very important. So clean, drain, and dry your boat. That's going to slow the spread. That's the only way. It's up to us as fishermen because that's how they're getting around. And if you purchase a boat that's in one of these bodies of water, assume it's got zebra mussels on it, and just do it. And it talks about where they were found and why they are concerned about these lakes. And it goes on for quite a while, but this is the part I want to point out. Unfortunately, zebra mussels have now spread to 32 lakes, and 27 are fully infested. But there are still more lakes that have been invaded and are at risk. And again, they say this so many times during this article. Take time to clean and drain your boat. And that's don't put it into a lake with zebra mussels in it and then go take it to a lake that doesn't have that infestation. You're just causing more problem, and I know nobody wants to do it because nobody wants to spend the time to clean their boat. But again, we have a video. You can do it in under 15 minutes. It doesn't take very long. You can actually do this thing. So make sure you do this. Zebra mussels are often transported on or in boats.
Mostly transported.
Most often transported.
Yes, yeah. In boats.
Thank you. Boaters play a critical role in preventing them. Zebra mussels attached to boats and anything left in the water. So that's your anchors. This is another thing I thought. They can survive out of water for days.
Yeah, so let's say you throw in your anchor, you throw it in the compartment, you washed your boat, but you went in the next day with your anchor into Falcon Lake or whatever.
Yeah, wherever.
And you just dropped zebra mussels that reproduce 2 million eggs a year.
Yeah. And zebra mussels are an invasive species, so I don't know how they enforce this, but if you transport an invasive species, you can get into legal trouble for that. I don't know how they're going to track that.
It's too hard to find.
But it is illegal. Matter of fact, one of the things that I found out, and actually I posted a video on this. I didn't know at the time, but we caught a pleco in one of our local lakes, and I should have killed it because it's an invasive species. I didn't think about it because not being from South Texas, I thought maybe they live here, and I didn't know. But had to do that again, you need to kill those things, those invasive species. And there's reasons why. It sounds cold-hearted, but there are reasons why we'll talk to you about just a minute. But anyway, it says if you stored your boat in the water at a lake with zebra mussels or purchased a boat, it is likely infested with zebra mussels and poses an extremely high risk for moving this invasive species to a new lake. So before moving your boat to another lake, they talk about calling it for decontamination and guidance on that.
If you have questions.
If you have questions, but wash your boat, drain it, dry it. It's just bottom line.
And check those anchors.
So check the anchors. Anything that you used. Anything that was in the water for any length of time.
It's like rabbits in Australia.
Yeah.
You know, the rabbits, one day somebody released some pet rabbits in Australia thinking, the snakes will eat them or whatever.
Yeah.
And now the rabbits reproduce in Australia so much that they have to kill 95% of all rabbits every single year.
Yeah.
Because they've eaten all the vegetation that was even there.
Yeah.
So just remember, it's like rabbits in Australia, because they reproduce and it's not natural to the area, and so there's nothing that eats them. There's nothing. It's not enough, and so they just
and here's that picture of zebra mussels and what they look like. They're easily identifiable because you can see the stripes on them. That's one of the ways they get their names. So just be aware of this. But I want to move to another article, because again, it's one thing to point out the problem and say, hey, there's a problem. But I think if people understood why it's such a problem and what it's going to actually do, I think that you would have a better understanding of what invasive species do and why it's such a problem when you move them around into places they shouldn't be. And so I found this article. This is from the National Park Service. So again, I'll put all the links in there. But they talk about prevention, how to keep it clean. They talk about what they are. Apparently, they are native to the Caspian and Black Seas of Russia and Ukraine, but have become widespread in both Europe and the United States. So originally, they were from the Asia Minor area.
How in the world did they get all the way here?
I'm guessing on the bottom of boats. Bottom of boats. I mean, it's really I don't know how else. They do say they're easily identifiable, and you can see them. They are easily identifiable, and they talk about that. But that's not the big part, because most likely, if you saw this on the bottom of your boat, you would say, "I got a zebra mussel," and you would get rid of it. But it's the little pieces you can't see, and that's what people are transporting. So why is it such a problem? Well, there's two things this article points out that are really the issue. The first being economic, and the second being environmental. And they call it biofouling, which is the accumulation, biofouling. I don't know anybody getting any weird ideas. The accumulation of adult zebra mussels on surfaces put in the water. And that causes a problem. So it talks about how they are attached. I'm not going to bore you with all that. Typically, this isn't a problem for boats that are in the water for short trips. Okay, you still have the zebra mussels, but it won't cause your boat a problem. But boats, docks, intake pipes that are left in the water for a longer period of time become encrusted with them and very difficult to clean. So basically, they're going to gum up everything. They're going to gum. I mean, if there's
docks, pipes, anything we have there,
they're going to
destroy it.
And if you fail to, and does say this too, if boat owners fail to drain the water from his or her motors, any of the pieces, and I'm not going to try that word. You want to try that word?
Villagers.
Villagers. I will call them villagers. The little zebra mussel villagers. They're floating in the water. They will root themselves, clog the machinery. So they'll break your boat. Bottom line, they're going to break your boat. So that's the economic side of things. But bigger than the economic is the environmental, because they're not native to this area. So there's biofouling in the ecological world as well, because they reproduce very fast. And they will choke out basically the native species. Zebra mussels, they will attach themselves to the local mussels, and then those local mussels can't move, and they end up dying. It says the zebra mussels also outcompete the natives for food and space, and because of their fast reproduction, can quickly overwhelm a water system. So they attach to native mussels just like they do to docks, and that's going to cause a problem, because what happens, and this again, I know this is getting in the weeds, but I wanted to tell you why this is happening and why it's a problem. The zebra mussels are filter feeders. So they're just sucking stuff right out of the water, little pieces of things we can't see. That's what they're eating. But there's also the mussels that are local that are eating those same things, and the clams and freshwater clams, things like that, eating those same things. So now you have a competition.
Or the bait fish.
So you have
the
that
same things. Eating
same
the plankton.
thing. And so there's going to be a chain effect. If you kill the smaller things, eventually it's going to get to killing the bigger things. And that's really what you're going to see. So you're going to see a reduction in the local game fish that are going to be the small fish. And then you're going to see that going up to the game fish, because that's going to be your reduction. You're going to see a chain event that's happening there. And so it talks about this, says they are highly efficient at this, and a large population of mussels can quickly clear the water of almost all floating particles. This change can cause shifts in local food webs by robbing food from native species that feed on plankton, and also increasing water clarity, making it easier for visual predators to hunt. Now, at first that might sound, oh, the predator fish are still going to be there. Yes, but if there's less bait in the water, less shad and things like that, that means you're going to have smaller fish and fewer of them. And so that's really the problem. So we have to stop them. There's very little, as this article, you can read it for yourself, very little that can be done once they're there. But there are things that we can do to prevent them, and prevention is the only way we can really deal with it. And so take that time.
Even small boats, like you leave kayaks, canoes,
Anything.
You take those from one to another. I think it's not just boaters that have engines. We usually flush our engines, we do all this.
Yeah.
But I think it's those small boats sometimes, your kayaks and your
Paddles.
canoes and your paddle boats, and you don't look on the bottom of that kayak or that canoe. You don't wash it off because you're thinking, well, I don't need to wash my boat. But
Right.
I think those can be just as dangerous.
Yeah. And there are some pieces to this
water.
that are probably a little bit, you can't do anything about it. Because if, we have the rivers like the Guadalupe River and the little Colorado River. And so if you're going downstream, eventually the lower lakes are going to get those zebra mussels in it. There's nothing that can be done because you're going downstream. They're going to release water as the rain comes, and that's going to happen. But not all of the rivers have that problem. So most often it's humans that are causing the spread. Matter of fact, that this article talks about just more how do we stop them. And it says that the infected water transported in the bottom of a boat, inside a motor, or via a live well can become a new infestation if released in an otherwise clean river or lake. To prevent this, you got to, again, take care, drain your boat, motors, live wells before leaving the lake or river. Wash their boat and trailer thoroughly. Trailer too. We don't think about it, but it's there. And allow it to dry for at least 5 days.
Wow. So they can survive out of the water a long time. So if you're planning on going from one lake to the other, might not be the best idea if it's infested with mussels. So be aware of this. Take care of the resources that are around us. We want to be able to make sure the next generations can enjoy the same things that we're enjoying. I want to see these lakes thriving and doing well and enjoying them. So be aware of this stuff. Take care of the resources. Take that little bit of time just to simply do what you can to clean and take care of your boat, and then take care of the environment. Yeah, we don't need any more invasive species.
No, we do not need any more invasive species. And I know if you're in Florida and you're watching this, you know all about invasive
the
species.
pythons, and then there's the whole lionfish problem.
And up in Maryland, the snakeheads. Oh my God, we never had those growing up. I'd never even heard of a snakehead growing up, and now they catch them routinely. So these invasive species can become a problem. So be aware of that. If you are a pet owner, don't release your pet into the water. Don't
or in
do
the
that.
wild. Or
unless it's a pet bass. You can release pet bass.
That's not a thing.
It could be a thing.
You can't name a bass. It's just
name him Fred. This is Fred. This is my pet bass. I don't know.
That'd be a big tank you'd have to have in your house to keep
Bass Pro Shops.
Well,
they have redfish in theirs.
Yes, those freshwater.
Freshwater, yeah. But anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far in the news of the week, you should really subscribe to the channel because that's just loyalty right there. Like the video. That also helps us on the YouTube and all that. Share it on Facebook. We do these each week, and we're going to start off with that new segment, I think, because that's just a lot of fun to go on Reddit and find out what people are doing and the questions that they have. So we'll do that at the beginning of these videos, and then we'll get into a news article that we think is important. If you have news that you come across that you want to see covered, send it to us, email it to us. Our email is also in the description below. What am I missing? Subscribe, like, smash the like button. That was what my kids say. Smash the like button. Right? Hit it really hard.
Or click it really hard.
Click it really hard. Vigorously. I don't know. But in any case, share it.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends. Okay. All right. And until next time.
May you always catch your limit.